Today we are exploring the secret life of Austin Evans, and we actually have him here with us. So this might be a little awkward. Guys, so we're filming something actually really exciting on Austin's channel. You can check out in the description below. It's an ultimate build-off video, so it's very exciting. But as I'm sitting here talking to Austin, I'm realizing he has a lot of things going on. He's not just a YouTuber that you see behind the Austin Evans channel, but how many channels are you actively and somewhat actively involved with at the moment?
9.
Jeez. And see, I had no idea. As someone who has one YouTube channel and one kind of dead podcast channel that hopefully I'll bring back soon.
Oh, podcast.
I have been so just enthralled with all of the information that I've been learning. But I kind of want to start with a little bit of an office tour because you also have a new office.
Yes, so
a building.
Yes, so we've got a new building
Yep.
which will be moved into at some point in the hopefully near future, which means that these existing studios will be torn apart and sunset before the end of the year, really.
So I figured, hey, this is a perfect time to maybe let's make a little video capsule of what has been your office for how many years?
We got this unit in 2016, so it's been a minute.
So let's get into it, guys. What I remember is one of my first YouTube collabs when I came out to LA. It was so fun. I hung out with Justine, and then I came out here with Austin, and I was so naive at the time in terms of PC builds and stuff, and I thought it was just gonna be super quick in and out. Dude, Austin, Ken, they helped me so much. It was such a fun video. I was truly naive on how long that was gonna take. So shout out.
Shot back here?
It was shot back here.
Yeah.
So you still use this set out here.
Yeah, so this area, which is now storage, was our set.
Yeah.
So
and now it's storage, which I find so funny.
So instead of a refrigerator, this is where the camera went.
Yeah.
We had the table right here. So basically, we always had to flag this off because the camera was right beside the sink, shooting this way. We had the
and then
table.
I loved the window setup. It always looked so nice, you know?
Yeah, yeah. You can see the old marks for where the desk used to be. We had lights, which are still some of the paint chips are still up here. Yeah. But this was basically where we started kind of quote-unquote being real YouTubers. So this is where we built the PC. This
is where it all began. Now you got your server set up over here. So you got a Synology, also a 45 drive setup.
Yep.
How much total storage do you have?
Great question. There's about 40 terabytes of SSD storage and about 150 terabytes of hard drive storage.
Wow.
And it is always full, and that's why we have the LTO drive, as well as we have these LTO tapes, which is where all of the data actually fully lives, and we have to offload it. So that's where we have a couple of copies of our LTO tapes. Basically, all of our videos, they land on the SSD server to start while it's actively being worked on. Then it hits the hard drive server for medium to long-term storage, and then after a year or so, it gets cleared. All the raw footage, we keep some of the stuff, but all the raw footage gets cleared off of that. But everything immediately goes to tape. So we have 27 times 2 tapes, and they're all 8 to 12 terabytes each.
Oh my gosh. So, okay, a lot of people they're like, tapes, what the heck are tapes? Yeah. So what's interesting about these, because I've looked into hey, what are good long-term storage options? And a lot of people have, ooh, look at this. A lot of people struggle with it because they do get outdated in terms of how to interface with them and the adapters and things. So how did you guys land on this type of LTO tape? And then if you want to grab things off of it, what is that process?
The process is actually not crazy. So we have the thing is the tapes are actually cheap. They're cheaper than hard drives, generally speaking. The expensive part is actually the drives.
Yeah.
So a hard drive you can plug in with a USB cable costs $2. We have a actual tape drive, an LTO-8 tape drive, and I think that plus the enclosure is $6,000–7,000, something like that. Yeah. So it's expensive.
So
but there's an advantage to it where it's just the tapes are rated. Yeah. So as long as you wind and unwind them every a few years or whatever, I think they're rated for 30 years.
Wow.
Which is a lot longer than most hard drives are probably gonna last.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, I love how you just have casual things like this sitting here. I'm pretty sure this lens costs much more than my mortgage and maybe my down payment. That's what's fun about this stuff is there's just so many expensive things casually laying around.
We've got a lot of stuff. To be fair, we've actually appreciated the red. That's actually why it's back there. It's currently being parted out.
Rest in peace, red.
We switched to A7s.
Yeah. And we're shooting on an A7S III now, but also in the other studio that we're about to go over to, you have FX3s.
FX3s. A7S FX3s are what we do almost all of our production on. Yeah. We still have some FS7s, and we used to do C100s. We actually just pulled those out last year.
Nice.
But yeah, it's all Sony, 100% now.
Yeah. Okay, and then can we broadly see up here?
We won't zoom into
any, proprietary information or anything.
Jared, hide all the social security numbers.
Exactly.
So this is currently being torn down at the moment, which is why there's huge holes and piles of stuff everywhere. This is where everyone has worked for the last several years. And again, this is all getting torn down and moved over to the new office now.
Yeah.
So
the building that you guys are in right now just has a lot of character, which I feel like is a good starting point for videos.
I mean, you can see, like the ceilings and all the exposed wood and everything. Yeah. I mean, this is all actually like 100 years old, which is, it's nice because it allowed us to kind of build a lot of stuff into it. Our new office is just a generic office, so we've got to do all of that stuff to try to make it look cool and rustic and everything.
Which I'm excited about.
Yes.
I'll just let you guys go watch Austin's video to understand what's happening here.
Thumbs down, thumbs up. That's all I'm gonna say.
Heck yes. Okay, so let's go to the other studio where you guys shoot a ton of stuff.
Yeah, this is our old spot. The other one is where we do really everything.
Speaking of studio tours, I could give you a tour of mine while not even being in Texas, all thanks to our sponsor of today's video, Polycam. Polycam is the world's leading 3D scanner app available for iPhone, Android, and the web. If you're just a hobbyist, it is so fun to play around with, but hey, if you're a professional, it is an amazing 3D tool for you that can be absolutely instrumental in your workflow. If you're an architect, engineer, interior designer, or maybe even a contractor, you can use Polycam's Pro features to create actual blueprints with accurate floor plan measurements. They also have the coolest Explore feed where you can see scans from all over the world, and I'm telling you, people get super creative. You can export these 3D scans to a ton of different file types, like an object file type, and then you can import that into Blender. I know something about that application. Look at me over here just being all 3D. Blender, After Effects, Cinema 4D, the sky is the limit. It would be super great for someone like a real estate agent who wants to show off a property in all of its 3D glory. You can do those 3D walkthroughs now. Okay, so we just got the scan of the office and oh my gosh, it looks so cool. Okay, so as you can see, my office isn't as impressive as Austin Evans. We're on to his second room now. I only have one, but as you can see, it's kind of divided into two rooms. So this main area is the neon peach side that you guys are familiar with. This is what we shoot in a ton. And then the other side is just for a ton of storage. We always have tech coming in and out. We have some desks, and we actually do shoot a little bit against that white wall with the noise panels. And I'm a big fan of this space just because I have space to store things. Okay, so I am officially obsessed with Polycam. Make sure to check out the link in the description below if you want to check it out as well. It's completely free. Download it. And then if you want to unlock those Pro features, of course, you can sign up for their Pro version, but I'll see you on the Polycam app and back to Austin Evans' studio. Okay, so this over here is the old This Is set, right?
It is, yeah. This is the This Is set we used for a couple of years. So this is all just a generic white sort of corner. So we put all this brick up, which is actual real thin chunks of brick.
You did the half brick, so it's not the styrofoam.
Yeah, so that's real actual brick. Painted the ceiling. You can see a lot of our rigging and stuff is still up here that we've kind of cannibalized, but this was This Is set for a while. But as you can see, it's in an incredibly small spot. We would basically have to this is where the tape mark where the table was.
Space, yeah.
Yeah, it was because this was just storage, and then we're like, oh, okay. But the problem would be when you were walking in with anything that's slightly large, you have to move and tear the This Is set down a little bit. So ultimately, This Is moved to a bigger space, which is not here, but it's one of our other studios. But yeah, that's the This Is space. It's a little bit messy back here, but
no, this is so fun. You got your 3D printer, got all the gear over here, and when I first visited, I think didn't we do a podcast in here?
We did a podcast. I think we shot our video across the hall. Yeah. We had this space and it was empty and we were just starting to build it up.
So now I'm seeing it with all these lights rigged up, and obviously you guys are about to move, but it's really cool to see a worn-in studio now.
Yeah.
And then this is so fun because all of their lights are basically hooked up to the switcher, and it's really cool to just see the full control that you have over everything.
Yes, so they're all individually labeled with basic which lights and everything. Some of it, again, this is all several years old, so we're starting to get some wear and tear stuff, which we should replace if we were going to keep the studio for a while. So it's kind of we let it go. But and there's just a lot of randomness here. The 3D printer / laser cutter / CNC mill. This is a snap maker, which has been really helpful for us to make all kinds of crazy stuff.
Love that. Oh my gosh, let me see.
These little test pieces. We've done a lot. So especially last year, we had a partnership with Microsoft for PC Game Pass.
Oh, nice.
And so we had a lot of PCs we were building for different people. One of the final build we actually did for that series was actually an entirely 3D printed Minecraft system. So like the entire thing was basically just maxing out this printer. It was just 100% 3D printed, which was a nightmare. But we did it, and this has been super useful.
For our video that we did on his channel, having all the grip equipment and stuff, where's my love? Yeah, having all the grip equipment was very handy. We were able to build our thing that I'm not going to reveal on this channel.
You can go check it out.
I love to see just these random crazy looking PCs everywhere.
Oh yeah.
Like, excuse me, what is that?
This is a pyramid PC from an old Broke vs. Pro that is. So the thing with a lot of PCs is that they stick around because if we need to shoot extra footage of them or whatever. But as soon as
some parts,
where's the GPU? Oh, there's one in the pyramid, and we yank it out.
Yeah.
So there's not much left in here, but we haven't actually gotten around to pulling out any of the rest of the stuff.
Yeah, I love that. And this is my favorite part when I walked in. Here's just like, kind of like a junk thing. Put some old PCs, and then you have his 1 million subscriber plaque. I'm like, bro, you gotta hang that somewhere.
That was just sitting behind a mini fridge for most of the time that I've worked.
So this is a step up, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look, I'm not big on trophies.
Yeah.
It's nice. I like it, but yeah.
You're so humble, Austin.
But yeah, so this is basically, these are active PCs. They're either being shot, the videos aren't live yet, we're gonna need them, whatever. So this shelf gets cleaned out periodically, although to be fair, this is a PC that I built in a box that actually doesn't need to be here anymore.
Oh, that's amazing.
This is our little PC build zone, where we have like the TV up on the wall and everything. We've got our cool little hard drive, which we took apart, loaded with water, and then took a marker to while I was running with Mr. Yeaster when he came out. That was one of the coolest things, seeing that in slow motion as the water hit that.
That's cool.
It sort of sprayed everywhere. That was really neat.
Yeah. Xbox controllers everywhere.
Oh yeah. We try to keep it pretty well stocked. I mean, we've got a lot of controllers.
And then so many great just gadgets everywhere. Classic Game Boy, just Tesla tequila.
Yeah.
Very expensive things. I love it, but it adds a lot to the personality of the set. Also, when I first walked in here, immediately I just looked up and just like, look at this rigging.
Yeah, that was, this studio build out took about a year and a half.
Yeah.
We did it kind of in chunks and phases, and then sort of at the end of that, then we renovated. So like, this sort of false tile went up. And then, about a year and a half.
So that's more of like a plastic, right?
It actually is. I believe it's actually a real tile, but then we did like a second layer after a year or so of the set. We put like the vines up.
Yeah,
you see like some of the vines, they're like up on this like overhead camera rig support and everything. But like basically it was probably a solid 2 years before the set was really done.
Wow.
And now
And then that's when you move, usually.
Exactly. We finished it, so it's time to tear it down.
Yeah. When everything gets perfect, that's when you leave.
Yes, yeah. So it's been good for us. So we've got a few different sets in here. So the main one where you can see again the tape marks on the floor. This is where the main table goes for Mystery Tech. So that's our Mystery Tech table, which is on sliders. So it kind of gets moved based on whatever we're shooting. But so this is exactly where I stand to do Mystery Tech, every couple weeks or whatever. So we have a camera, an FX3 that's sort of sunk back there, which is like the main A cam. We have actually another A7S, which replaced our Red, which lives on the pedestal. It does look ridiculous, but it is like this because we had all the rigging for the Red, and then we just realized that we liked the A7 more. So we
Love it.
And then we have.
Do you plug everything into here to preview
Yeah.
see
So
what
actually,
you look like?
this is kind of cool. So this is the fun station. We have a bunch of stuff going in here. So this is one of the LG quad view monitors. So it takes 4 1080p, and you'll have all 4 up. So we can have all our cameras up. We have a couple of our recorders. So there's 3 cameras that we run on. Mystery Tech or for multicam stuff. So these 2 are for the overhead camera as well as for the A cam, which we trigger via these Ninjas. And then there's another recorder built on top of this rig, which is so this can be fully portable.
So basically, when you're done with filming, you just grab the drives from the Ninjas. You have a dock and
exactly. Yeah. The whole idea with the setup is just to make it as turnkey as possible, so we're not tearing things down. We're not having to reset stuff up. We can walk in here. All our audio goes into a Mix Pre 6, which has been really, really solid for us. And if you come around to the back, you can see how we actually have sort of made it work, and it's very dark. This is also my old podcast recording zone. So this is literally when I need to record podcasts in the morning, I would come and set my laptop on this little dock and sit here and just talking to the mic.
We could probably make a whole video about this setup here in its own.
There's a lot of, there's wireless Teradek, there's HDMI, there's all kinds of nonsense.
Wow.
It actually has worked as complicated as it is, and it is definitely a little shocky since I don't know, it's probably something that's not right. But this has been a really helpful little thing, especially just having, when we're shooting Mystery Tech, I can see all 4 cameras
Yes,
up here, or all
that's huge.
3 of the 4 cameras.
See, I like that because you just skipped the step that I have. Is I have everything plugged into kind of a Blackmagic switcher.
Yeah.
So it's really handy because, and I have a teleprompter too where I can see the video. So I like being able to switch in between the angles, but just having everything just on one TV. You skip the step of the switching, and then you can just see everything. I like that.
It's really helpful, especially when we're shooting here, right? So we've got this overhead camera.
Yeah.
With the
Another FX3.
Another FX3 with the 28-135, mostly because that is a power zoom lens.
Yeah.
So we have a little remote where we can zoom and focus using that camera, and especially when I've got like a small item or something. A lot of times I'm sitting here at the desk, I'm moving it around, and I'm looking over here, which looks like I'm looking at Ken, but I'm actually looking at the screen to make sure that I'm sort of framing it up right.
No, that's great. And I mean, I didn't make a video about this, but I posted on social. Sony just came out with their first full frame power zoom lens that isn't a cine lens. So it's a 16-35, and you can control the zoom via the app or the remote. If you're manually focusing and you zoom, the focus stays consistent, and that's what's so great about those lenses. So this is a extra version of it. You know, it's huge, but it's because it's a cine lens. But yeah, and so you guys, in terms of audio, just also, I know. I wanted to make it just about the studio, but now I'm like, gear. I've seen them in so many places, and so it's interesting to see you guys using them. The Sennheiser, do you know the model name?
AVX.
Yeah.
AVXs.
Very popular, really, with YouTubers or, you know, still on the professional scale. A lot of people use these, or the step down are the Rodes. And we've even been using the Rode Pro or Go, wireless Go's a lot.
We use them both. So we primarily use AVXs for almost everything. They're just good. They're just they're solid. We swapped out the actual lavs, so actually that's what we are listening to us on right now. So we've swapped out the lavs themselves for slightly nicer ones because I don't like the lavs that come with the AVXs. But that being said, they've been good. They've been reliable. So we've got most of our gear set up here, mostly because we're in the middle of our shoot. So we're actually, after we're done with this video, we're gonna get all the gear prepped and start to continue shooting. But you know, for like this one, we have a bunch of GoPros. We have a bunch of these Tascam DR10Ls, which I absolutely love. They're cheap, they sound great, they're dead reliable. So that's what our judge is going to be using. We have another one of the Tascams with the X model, which is attached to a dynamic mic, which is my favorite thing in the world. I miss going to trade shows and screaming into this mic and looking cool. And then here's another one of the FX3s, which is normally at our other studio. Thanks, Matt, for labeling everything. But we pulled over just because for the ultimate build-off shoot, I mean, this is
very involved.
This is as big of a shoot as we do. It's all hands on deck, calling favors in, like just everyone, all the gear, all the things to make it work.
Definitely.
I guess the Steam Deck over there, which we're using for the shoot.
When it comes to lights, I like to just like flood myself with light, and it kind of gets rid of imperfections, I feel like. But something that I've noticed you guys do is it's almost like, you know, there's absolutely no house lights on at all. So you have a lot of lights bouncing off a cardboard over here. And then really you only have 1 or 2 actual keys, right?
Yeah, exactly. So one of the things is when we got the space, we were trying to just sort of build it up in a way where it looks exactly the same way, whether it's 3 a.m. or 3 p.m.
Yeah.
And so, you know, some things like obviously we wanted to put carpet in, we wanted to kind of dress things up, but other things like having the lights, especially when you look up, so these are all skylights actually above, so you can see that they're just kind of covered up.
Yeah.
But there's a lot just to kind of help, because this is the first time
a lot of
we ever...
diffusion makes it nice and smooth and
Exactly.
natural. Yeah.
This is the first time we really had fully controlled lighting in a studio, because even back at our old set across the hall, it was cool, but the problem was that, you know, there was the sun that came up and down, and we couldn't really control the look. But in here, we fully control it, which has been really nice. And
Which this is a fake window.
oh yeah, this is a fake window. Everyone think
Fake news.
Yeah, so
Look at this.
It's just an LED panel, but it looks good.
Yeah,
most
no,
times.
looks great.
It's slowly breaking, but as with most things, it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah,
No,
that's
I
the
love
main
it.
set. We've got a little corner set right here, which is where I do more of the serious kind of telling people that the PS5 is actually worse and other things like that. Yeah, the thing I'm most proud about this set is that it's a small studio, and we've really crammed it with as much as we can. We have a lot of angles, we have a lot of ways we can shoot. But we've also had this spot for a long time, and it feels like it's time to expand, because this is a lot. We can't shoot more than one thing at a time in here, whereas with our new office, we'll be able to do multiple productions all running at the same time without getting in everyone's way. So that's one of the things I think is going to really kind of help us just create more on the mini channels that we're stupidly making every day.
Exactly. And let's pivot to the last topic that we're going to talk about, and to You've done such an amazing job, Matt. We'll put it on the tripod for this last section. But I want to chat a little bit about, what is going on behind the scenes, because many more things are happening besides just the main Austin Evans YouTube channel. I was curious, can we run down kind of the breakdown of the other channels and stuff? And
Sure.
do you talk about the other channels?
No, I try to make people forget about them.
Wow. Okay.
I want everyone to look at no.
So why? So is there something about the algorithm that actually makes you not want to cross-promote things and kind of cross-pollinate?
Sort of, actually, a little bit. So some projects we do some promotion on, and we've tried across projects to do bigger pushes, to do lighter pushes, to do lots of smaller pushes, which actually tends to work a little bit better. The big thing is, and the reason why we have so many different channels, is really to try to take advantage of the algorithm, because what we've seen success with is more focused, single-topic channels. Right? So we have a variety of different things that we've tried, but generally speaking, pushes actually have been harmful in some ways, because you almost start diluting the audience. The algorithm doesn't know how to recommend. So for example, we have a PlayStation project. That project exclusively does PlayStation videos, and because that is able to hyper-target for that audience. So if you subscribe to a PlayStation channel and suddenly you get an Xbox video, you don't click it, the algorithm buries it. So that's kind of some of the thinking.
Super focused, and
Yes.
then that's a good point too, because I think that's sometimes what my channel struggles with, is I'll have a hardcore tech video and then hey guys, let's do an apartment tour. And then, so I think there's a part where, okay, I want people to come for me, but there is something really, there's something to say for keeping focus and only doing videos about one thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's been helpful because as we've started to experiment with these things, and to be fair, most of the other channels are not huge, right? But it's much more so. For us, it's also about data gathering.
Too.
Yeah, we've launched somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 or 7 channels the last year. So we've got a lot of smaller things and medium-sized things. And it's been interesting to see all of them. Some have been failures. I'm not going to mention those. But a lot of them are worth us continuing making. So basically the idea behind it is not only to do data gathering, to try different formats, to see as the algorithm shifts toward, is it more absolute AVD, is it relative, how much does the click-through matter, how much does the actual topic and the laning matter, what colors of thumbnails are working better this week. I mean, we try to experiment with a lot of different things, and when we learn from one thing, from one project, it gets spread through everything, and ultimately if a bunch of different things are all contributing, it's going to help kind of lift the overall system. But probably the biggest change that we've made over the last year or so is actually reducing our uploads on the main channel. So we used to be 2-3 uploads a week on the main channel. And what we were finding, similar to I think what you've seen, is just creating a ton of content that was a little bit more scattershot, doing a laptop video, then a phone video, then a mystery tech or whatever, was hurting all of those videos.
Yeah.
What we've tried to do is be a little bit more, again, sort of hyper-focused. So the main channel now doesn't do unboxing. We don't do reviews. We're not doing most of the things that we used to do for 10, 11, 12 years. A lot of what we're doing is focusing on the entertainment side of things. So, getting ripped off on Wish, going to Best Buy and buying a PC, building a gaming setup from Target, these kind of things that, in addition to stuff like mystery tech, that hits that same audience and that they keep coming back. So the thing
and it's
is,
more evergreen, right? So you could watch those videos 2 years from now and it's still relevant.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's kind of been the thinking behind the core tech has been spread out across some of our other channels, including Dinky and This Is, for example. And for the main channel, it's really just focusing on trying to deliver one high quality video every week that we can try to get absolute maximum AVD on, average view duration. The goal is that people never miss a main channel upload. You never skip it, you want to watch all. Obviously that's never going to happen, but if we can make super high quality videos and keep it in a tight sort of sphere, if you watch one, you'll watch the second, third, and fourth, etc. So that's kind of the thinking behind it.
And so those, This Is, and those channels are more directly involved with the Austin Evans, operation.
The main tech channels all kind of are in a bubble, and then some of the other projects are slightly outside.
And so this Second Life that I just learned about, that's something that you're involved with, but you still have people who are actively running them for you, and so partnering. So with those channels, what are some that you're actually kind of proud of? What are the channel names? So can we expose?
Yes, we can expose them. They're on
the. People can go check them out.
You go to the main channel that are listed in the thing.
Oh, they are. Okay.
So some of the other channels would be the Ready channels. Are the thing. So that we have 3 Ready channels. So there's PS Ready, Xbox Ready, and Deck Ready for for Steam Deck, for Xbox, and for PlayStation. Those have been the more gaming-focused channels, and those are one of the ones where we really like leaned into that hyper-specific kind of thing. So we're cranking 2-3 videos a week. In fact, actually, pretty much 3 videos a week on each channel, entirely dedicated to those specific topics. It's been interesting because a lot of it tends to be, especially with that kind of volume of trying to gather data, it's a lot of newsy stuff. It's a lot of just what is going on, what can we speculate on, whatever, because it's so much content that we have to fill every week. But that being said, it has been immensely helpful, not only just learning a lot about different things, but also we've been growing channels. So some of those channels, 2 of those channels started out with 0 shout-out, 0 anything, and just were completely organic. PS Ready was the first one, and even that did not get a massive shout-out. So seeing how channels grow from actual 0, the first 3 views in search and then kind of growing up from there has been really helpful in teaching us ways that the algorithm works and how sort of content is discovered and everything. So
and there's a huge emphasis on, and this is something I need to get better still, is, when I was talking to the other Matt, he was saying, oh, we do not make a video until we have a title and thumbnail. And not only that, but by the time you post the video, you have at least like 2 or 3 thumbnail options as backups. And what I've noticed, which is interesting, is it's almost kind of like the opposite. These new channels, as they get off the ground, it is way more about current events. You have more quantity, and you also have more specific topics. When on your YouTube channel, it's more evergreen. It's not specific at all.
But it's only able to do that because it has hit the scale that it has.
Right. So talk to me about that. So talk to me about the difference between, a newer channel and what they have to do versus someone who's established 10 years in.
So the main channel is huge, right? Over 5 million subscribers, which means that we can upload the worst video in the universe and it's going to go out to a bunch of people, right? So once you get over that initial sort of discoverability kind of phase, then it's much more so about how quote unquote good is the video, how long do people watch it, how much do people engage, blah, 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 right? So you kind of skip steps 1, 2, and 3 just because the audience is already there. When it comes to building these newer channels, what we found is it's really interesting. It is, you got to get the click first because you're going to get, like, YouTube's going to serve it to 10 people when you upload your first video or whatever the actual number is. And you better get 3 or 4 of those people to click, because otherwise there's going to be 0 data for the algorithm to go, oh, this is an interesting video, I'm going to go feed it to the next 10 or 20 or 50 or 100. So that's one of the things that's really different, is that you have to bring your A game just to get people in the door to begin with, right? And you have to hit a little bit of a critical mass, because there's a certain sort of tipping point in which YouTube, if it sees a video, has got a lot of people clicking on it, watching it, engaging it, et cetera, that's when things start to, all of a sudden you'll start seeing the graph go and sort of bend itself up because this video is popular or whatever, people find the channel, and then sort of we can go from there. I mean, again, it's experimental, right? Like all of these channels have been things that we have really been learning as we go, and a lot of it is for the data gathering side, but it's been really interesting to see. It feels like we're almost kind of like getting a look under the hood a little bit of how the algorithm works, which is, of course, what makes everything go around.
Always evolving, and I know for me, it's been amazing to, just kind of be a fly on the wall here, and it's super impressive and it's super inspiring. So thank you for not only entertaining us, but educating us. So hopefully this video is a good video with watch time, and also you watch another video. So you can do one of 2 things after this video, guys. 1, go watch the video on Austin Evans' channel where we did the ultimate build off. It's very quirky and fun. And if you're a weirdo and you don't want to watch that, well, I did kind of a similar video with Linus Tech Tips almost like 1 or 2 years ago, 2 years ago, where we kind of toured his studio and stuff. So you should have 2 of those videos here or here.
If you made it this far, you might have clicked on the video but given Sarah full retention. So you're a real supporter.
Thank you. Thanks, Austin. Like, sub. See you in the next one. Stay peachy. Okay, bye.